So what happens when a doomsday prophecy doesn't come true? Usually everyone just kind of forgets about it, right? But what if the prophecy wasn't actually wrong? What if we just misunderstood what it was trying to tell us? Today, we are diving into a really fascinating theory that takes a specific end times prediction and flips it on its head. It argues it wasn't a failure at all, but actually the secret start of a countdown.
You know, when you think about the rapture, you probably picture this huge, dramatic moment, right? A flash of light, people just vanishing, poof. But the whole idea we're digging into today asks a totally different question. What if it's not a single event? What if it's a process? Like a slow, deliberate journey, an exodus that has actual physical signs we're supposed to be looking for.
Okay, so first, let's get a little context here. This is not a new conversation, not by a long shot. For pretty much 2,000 years, the biggest debate has always been about the timing, specifically how it lines up with a prophesied 7-year period of global crisis.
So this whole debate usually breaks down into three main camps. You've got the pre-tribulation view, which says believers are out of here before the tough times start. Then there's mid-trib, right at the halfway mark. And finally, post-trib, where everyone sticks it out through the whole thing. Now, the theory we're looking at today, it's kind of like a version of that pre-trib idea, but wow, it has a twist that nobody expected.
So what was the spark for this completely new way of looking at things? Well, it all circles back to one very specific date. People have been predicting dates for centuries, of course, but this recent prophecy for 2025, it's absolutely central to understanding this whole theory.
Okay, so the story goes like this. It starts back in 2018 with a man named Joshua Mala. And the source material says that this guy, who had zero public profile, gets this private revelation of an exact date. He actually sits on it for years before going public in June 2025. And the date he gives? September 23rd to the 24th. This wasn't some vague, it's coming soon. No, this was a super precise 24-hour window.
But, well, as the source itself is quick to point out, the day arrived, and then it left, and nothing happened. The world just kept on turning. For almost everyone, this was just another one for the failed prophecy file. But for a very small group, this non-event wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning.
And this is where things get really interesting. That non-event created this huge split in thinking. On one side, you had the majority view, which was pretty simple. See? False alarm. Proves no one can know the day or the hour. But then this other, much more radical idea started to bubble up. What if the prophecy was right, but our interpretation of what was supposed to happen was all wrong?
And that right there brings us to the absolute heart of this theory. The idea is that September 24th was never meant to be the finish line. Nope, it was the starting gun. For a marathon, not a sprint, the start of an exodus.
So this theory calls it the Exodus process, and the comparison they use is the Israelites leaving Egypt. Think about it. They didn't just snap their fingers and appear in the promised land, right? It was a long, difficult journey. So if you apply that same logic here, that prophesied date wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a slow, gradual spiritual journey away from the world.
So if it's a journey, what does that actually look like? Well, the source talks about more than 10 high-watch days that have happened since that original date. You can think of these as, spiritual campsites along the path. They're these moments of super high expectation where it feels like, okay, this is it, it's happening now. Okay, but if it's a long process, how do we know when we're getting to the end? This is where this theory gets really, really specific. It claims the final countdown isn't just some vague spiritual feeling. No, it's tied to actual, physical, observable things happening in our sky. So, this proposed countdown starts with something we can actually measure scientifically, the solar maximum, all those increased solar flares we've been seeing. But that's just step one. From there, it gets wild. The theory predicts a literal tear will appear in the sun, blasting out a wave of energy. That energy is supposed to create these incredible auroras all over the globe. We're talking visible even in the tropics. And the final can't-miss-it sign, the whole sky, everywhere, will shift to this weird, brownish, old photograph tone. That sepia sky, that's basically the final warning. According to this theory, it's not just a strange sight. It is the very last signal you will get before absolutely everything changes, forever. And the instruction that comes with that sign is incredibly simple. Go home. Just go home. Because what's supposed to happen next is going to unfold really fast. We're talking within 1 to 3 hours. And after that very short window,
The theory says a supernatural darkness is going to fall over the entire Earth. And listen, this isn't a power grid failure. This is a darkness so profound, so absolute, that you literally could not see your own hand if you held it right in front of your face.
And it's in that darkness, the theory says, that the walls between our world and other worlds just collapse. This protective bubble of grace that supposedly surrounds humanity just shatters. We're talking creatures we thought were just myths and stories starting to physically appear. The source even suggests the living dead will emerge and connects our whole cultural obsession with zombie movies to a kind of subconscious prep for this moment. And all of this is happening while a massive electrical charge shakes the planet to its core. And this is the final twist. The rapture itself? It's not the main event. In this whole scenario, it isn't some big bright public show for everyone to see. It's a covert operation, a rescue mission, a quiet evacuation that happens completely hidden by all that darkness and chaos. So, you see, it all comes back to that one big question. When a prophecy's date comes and goes, does that automatically mean it failed? Or could it just mean we misunderstood what we were supposed to be looking for? This theory definitely offers a very detailed and, for some, a very compelling alternative to just writing it off as a failure. It makes you wonder, right? Maybe the signs really are all around us if we just change the way we're looking at them. Thanks for digging into this with us.